Mr. Duncan, you are late. Where have you been? I know I'm a little bit late today, for which I apologise, but at least I am here. As we always say in English, better late than never at all. Here we go. Yes, it is another English Addict, completely 100% live. If it wasn't live, trust me, I would make a much better job of it. It would be much more professional, let's just say. Coming to you live from the birthplace of the English language, which just happens to be, oh my goodness, I can't believe it, it's England. Hi everybody. Yes, I am late, I know. This is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you feeling happy today? I hope there is a smile on your face. I know things are not great in the world. Planet Earth is going through a rather difficult phase at the moment, let's just say. Well, I suppose not necessarily the planet, but certainly the people living on the planet Earth having some problems, I think it would be fair to say. But even though things are not as good as they could be, I hope there is still a smile on your face today. We are back together. And yes, my name is Duncan. It says it right there on the screen. So it must be true. Sorry I'm late. I've had a few things going on. We have a very chaotic week. This week there is going to be a lot of chaos because we have some big changes here. We have some things that are happening that will never happen ever again. A very big thing this week, which is going to happen, and I'm rather excited about. It's only taken 15 and a half years to reach that point, but I'm very excited by it. Also, I'm still suffering from hay fever. I have locked myself here in the studio since yesterday afternoon. I haven't been anywhere. I have a little bucket in the corner of the studio for me to go poo-poops and wee-wees in. That's how bad things are. So besides the fact that it's really hot in the studio, it's also a little bit smelly as well. I'm only joking, by the way, because sometimes when you joke about things, people think you are being serious. And before you know what's happening, you are being cancelled 100%. It's almost become difficult these days to make any jokes about anything. Because, well, I suppose if you say something and if you are talking to many people at the same time, you might find that you will offend someone, somewhere in the universe. I think it's almost unavoidable. Anyway, I will try my best today not to offend too many people. I really will try my best, honestly. No guarantees. So my name is Duncan. I talk about English. I love the English language. You might say that I am one of those up there, an English addict. And I have a feeling you might be one of those as well. Here we go again. Yes, we have made it all the way to the end of another weekend, and we are approaching the longest day of the year here in the UK. The longest day, the summer, is it the summer equinox? I believe it is. Or is it the summer solstice? It's one of those anyway. I think it's the one where all of those druids, they go into the middle of a field and take all their clothes off. Yes, it is Sunday! here we are again. I hope you are having a good day. I hope everything is super duper where you are. Oh, did you see me on Friday as well? I was in the garden on Friday. I couldn't resist going outside to do a live stream on Friday, despite the fact that I was suffering from my annual hay fever, my allergy that I get every June. The strange thing is, and I was talking to Mr. Steve about this yesterday when we were walking around and I was suffering and sneezing. I was talking to Steve and I said that I didn't suffer from hay fever when I was living in China, which I find quite unusual. So I didn't actually get hay fever whilst living in China. And I was living there for quite a long time, and I never got hay fever. However, when I returned to England, suddenly, yes, of course, I did once more get hay fever every single year. But it's strange. I don't know why, because the place I was living in China, was very close to the grasslands of Inner Mongolia. And we are talking thousands of acres of grass. And it just so happens that grass pollen is the thing that I am sensitive to. But I didn't have it. All the time I was in China, I did not have hay fever. However, as soon as I come back here, yes, I have hay fever. In fact, as I'm talking to you now, I can already feel a sneeze coming on. Wait there a moment. Here we go. This might be the first sneeze of today's live stream. Let's have a look, shall we? No. Okay, it's gone away. Good. Please don't go away. I only want my sneeze to go away, not you. I need you, because this week we have something very special happening. Hopefully, over the next 48 hours, we are going to hit 1 million subscribers. Over the next couple of days, hopefully. We also have another thing happening this week. Mr. Steve's mother is coming to stay. Everything is going on this week. And I'm not feeling very well because of my hay fever. I think this week is going to be so crazy, chaotic, maybe. I'm sure there will be some fun as well along the way. And I hope we can have some fun today, please. Can we have some smiles? I want to see some smile. Can we have smiles? Because everyone is so miserable at the moment. Don't worry, it is not illegal to be happy. Not yet, anyway. We will see what happens. Hello to the live chat. Nice to see you all here as well. Oh, we have the live chat. I wonder who was first on today's live chat. Let's have a look, shall we? Now, I happen to know that Vitas is not here today. I received a lovely message from Vitas saying that he would not be here because he is entertaining one of his friends. So that's what's happening with Vitas. So instead, we have a different champion, Mosen. Hello, Mosen. Guess what? You are first on today's live stream and also the live chat. Congratulations, Mosen. You are first. By the way, I'm very happy to report that the weather has become much cooler over the past 24 hours. On Friday, it was so hot, 30 degrees, 30 Celsius in my garden when I was outside talking to you. And of course, across Europe, it's been as high as 40 degrees. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't remember ever having such high temperatures as high as 40 degrees across Europe. France, apparently, the Eiffel Tower was in danger of melting. It was that hot. That's how hot it actually was. So today it's much cooler, very damp, very humid. And also we've had a lot of rain as well, which is keeping things nice and cool. Hello, Beatrice. Nice to see you here. Valentin is here as well. And of course, Luis Mendez is here today. Hello, Luis. Nice to see you back as well. Paolo, Florence. We also have Claudia. Oh, by the way, a little bit later on, we will have our special feature, What's Cooking Claudia? What have you got in your pot? We will do that a little bit later on. Hello, Olga. Oh, I will be saying hello to you in a moment. Something special from Olga. Hello also Israel. Hello also to Beatrice. Gulu. Hello, Gulu. Nice to see you. Hello, Fatih. Hello also Maria. Jimmy is here as well. It would appear we have a lot of people joining us today already. It's nice to see you here, back where you belong. Marcia is here as well. Eulina. Hello, Eulina. Eulina Philipsak, who says, hello, Mr. Duncan and everyone around the world. Greetings from Bristol. Hello, Bristol in the UK. Nice to see you here. Eulina, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I always try my best anyway. Even if I fail, I always try my best. Hello, we also have, who else is here? Florence is back as well. Saturino. Hello, Saturino. Nice to see you here as well. I am hoping to celebrate my 1 millionth subscriber this week. I will try to be with you live when it happens, but of course it depends when it happens. It might be in the morning, it might be in the afternoon, it might be during the night when I'm sleeping in my bed. So we will see what happens there. But I really hope I can be with you live when we pass our 1 millionth subscriber. At the moment, I think we are around 850 subscribers away from 1 million. Isn't it exciting? I suppose the big question is, will I get a special prize from YouTube? Is YouTube going to send me a special prize? Because they've never done it. They didn't send me anything when I reached 100,000. I didn't get my play button. I didn't get anything. And I don't think I'm going to get anything for my millionth either. I don't know why. Please don't ask me why. I have no idea. Maybe I have upset YouTube for some reason. I don't know. Who knows in this crazy world that we're living in at the moment. Monisa also. Oh, we have Marwar. It's so nice to see Marwar here as well. Monisia. Nice to see you back on the live stream. Today we are looking at musical instruments, musical words, musical phrases. I have something over there. Would you like me to show it to you? I'm going to show it to you now. It's a big thing, and I might have to wave it around to show you what it is. So just a moment, I have something to show you. Oh, Mr. Duncan. We are fascinated. Would you like to see my lovely violin? Look at that. Isn't that nice? Look, a beautiful violin. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, Mr. Duncan, Mr. Duncan, can you play the violin? My answer to that is no. I can't play the violin. I will try. Shall we have a go at playing the violin? I've never played the violin ever before. Ever in my life. Here we go. That sounded quite good, actually. I might be the new Mozart or the new Nigel Kennedy. Who remembers Nigel Kennedy? He was a very good violinist, although you don't hear from him anymore. I can't believe I just did that. I played the violin for the first time ever in my life. The strange thing is, I remember when I was at school, I was always being encouraged to play musical instruments because they said I had very long fingers. Apparently my fingers are very long. And if you have long fingers, apparently you are very good, or you should be very good, at playing musical instruments like this. Isn't that lovely? I hope you enjoyed that. No, I am not a good violinist. I realise that. I already realise the error of my ways from that particular thing. Mr. Steve will be with us in a few moments. Are you excited? Because we do have Mr. Steve here as well, telling us all about his exciting week that he will be having as his mother comes to stay with us. All of that coming up a little bit later on. By the way, last night I couldn't resist going outside to do some filming because we had the most glorious sunset last night. We had some beautiful views from the house and I could not resist filming them. Would you like to have a look at them now? Here they come now. Some beautiful sunset scenery. And all of this was filmed last night. And then coming up in a few moments, we also have Mr. Steve. He will be right here. Don't go away. was splashing around in the puddle, trying my best to keep cool. And before that, we had the cows. And before that, we had the beautiful sunset that happened last night outside my window. That was filmed last night. Beautiful sunset. We are having some very nice weather. Well, we have. It was very hot on Friday. Talking of things that are hot and sticky, here he comes. Mr. Steve is back.
Hello. Hello, Mr. Duncan. Hello, wonderful viewers
Mr.
from
Steve.
across the globe.
Mr. Steve is here. So everyone calm down. I know I was late today, you see. I was 10 minutes late. And the reason is, I wasn't going to mention this, but the reason is because last night Mr. Steve made the most amazing meal, the most amazing food imaginable. Some beautiful lentil curry, but it did have a very strange effect on my stomach. That's all I'm saying.
I think it was excitement because you were coming onto the live stream. That's what it was, Mr. Duncan.
There was certainly a stream coming out of one part of my body. Definitely.
I'm definitely not going to be here next week.
Next Sunday.
Next Sunday I won't be here.
Yes.
You'll be here probably. I won't because I'm off to a rehearsal.
Oh.
An all-afternoon rehearsal because we've got a production coming up soon.
Okay.
Which relates to something that you've been showing, I think, earlier.
Yes, we are looking at musical instruments later, or phrases to do with music and musical instruments. That coming up a little bit later on.
I'll mention it then.
But and another thing that's happening next week, in fact, the next 7 days are going to be pretty hectic.
Yes.
To say the least. We have your mum coming.
Yes.
So maybe next Sunday, instead of having Mr. Steve here, we could have Mr. Steve's mother co-presenting. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine what would happen?
I can't imagine it.
Would you like to have Mr. Steve's mother here next week co-presenting? I think it would be brilliant.
I think you would. It would take a lot of persuading.
Oh. See, what I think, this is my theory.
A lot.
This is my theory. I think Steve is threatened by it. He is worried that if Mr. Steve's mother comes on here, she will be more liked and enjoyed than you. So she might be more popular. So I think Steve is just saying that to stop his mother from coming on here because he's worried that she will be more popular than him. I think that's what it is.
I don't think there's anything you could do that could persuade my mother. I think you would have to literally trick her by putting a camera in front of her and just going to talk to her.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't know that she was actually being live at the time.
Maybe, yeah, I could hide the camera. I could hide it and then just say, oh, hello. Hello, Steve's mum. Come over here.
How do you pronounce this word?
Let's have a chat.
Yes, she won't be keen on appearing. She doesn't really understand any of this.
I don't think she understands any of this. No one really understands what I do. I wasn't going to mention this, but all the people we know, they have no idea what this is. They can't even understand what it is I do.
Unless they've watched it. It's very difficult for a lot of people.
I don't think that helps.
Who aren't familiar with the internet and YouTube. It's very difficult for them to understand unless they see it for themselves.
Yeah.
If people have never been on YouTube, they don't really know what... There's this whole world out there with people making videos about all sorts of different subjects. Mr. Duncan's teaching English, of course. But, like, for example, my mother, she doesn't understand it. Doesn't know because she hasn't seen it.
Well, what I meant was more what I do is in my job. I think that's what people get confused by. Where they think I work in a school, and then they ask if I'm on the internet, and then they ask, are you still sending your messages to your friends in China? And none of those things are right. So I don't think anyone really knows what I actually do. Maybe you don't know. There are still people asking me, Mr. Duncan, what is this? What are we watching at the moment?
Thank you to everybody for saying hello to me. Sylvia says good morning. Of course, it must be wherever you are, Sylvia. It must be early, very early on in the day, whereas here it's 2:30, gone 2:30 now.
Yes.
So a reminder, as if we need it, that people are watching us all over the world in different time zones.
Yes.
So yes, people are watching us in the morning, in the afternoon. It's quite exciting, really.
Christmas, maybe. It might be Christmas where you are. Happy Christmas, if it is Christmas where you are watching at the moment.
It's cold in Brazil, in Porto Alegre, according to Sylvia. Hello, Sylvia, who just said good morning. Apparently it's cold there. Whereas here, of course, you've probably mentioned the temperature this week. It's been very hot.
On Friday, I was outside in the garden suffering for you. I was outside and I was ill and I was unwell and I was standing there getting loads of pollen up my nose, lots of pollen going into my body, and I was suffering. I was so ill because of you. You wanted me to go outside into the sunshine, and that's what I did.
And it's still muggy, so that means that's humid. And it's a bit uncomfortable, and of course there's lots of pollen around, and even I've been suffering with mild hay fever, which is unusual, although I did get some last year. There's never been so much pollen apparently this year, has it?
It's crazy.
Experts are saying.
Well, I've been
pollen bombs or something they're calling it.
Thunder pollen.
Thunder pollen.
Thunder pollen. Apparently, because after it's been wet, even more pollen is released into the air after a damp period. Now, if you remember the last time we were on, we were talking about the Queen of England and her Jubilee. Well, can you believe today is the anniversary of the change of the name of the house of the royal family that is now in existence. So on this date, here it is on the screen now, on this day in 1917, the British royal family changes its name from the Germanic Saxe-Coburg Gotha, or Gotha, to the more English-sounding Windsor. So Windsor, it sounds much more English, doesn't it, than Saxe-Coburg Gotha. I think so, yes.
Well, I suppose, understandably, they would wish to distance themselves from certain regimes that were causing problems around the world at the time, so that's probably a good idea at the time.
Yes, although...
I mean, the Queen was born here, so she is British.
Yes.
Even though, obviously, she is of Germanic descent.
I think it is fair to say that during the early 1900s, there was a lot of anti-German sentiment, and that's the reason why they decided to change the name. Also, I think Windsor just sounds more eloquent. I'm not criticising their original name, but I'm just saying it sounds more Windsor. Hello, I'm the Queen. I'm Elizabeth Windsor. It sounds so... It does sound English.
Of course, Prince Philip, the Queen's husband, now deceased, of course, was from Greece, I think, wasn't he?
Yes, Greek origin.
He was Greek, so...
And all of his sisters married Nazis.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're probably at the time,
What?
They didn't know what they were getting into. I mean, you've got to look at things in historical perspective. But yes, you can understand, particularly if you've got a monarch in this country wanting to distance themselves from or not give the perception to their subjects in the country that they are supporting in any way Nazi regimes or etc. So you can understand why they would want to do that. Not that you ever used to use the line. I mean, you never call the Queen, Elizabeth Windsor. You just call her the Queen.
No,
or Queen Elizabeth.
But of course, but we always give a generic term, don't we? The House of Windsor. So we have the Tudors, we have the Edwardians, and we have the Windsors as well. So I suppose that sounds more eloquent and more English or British. I suppose.
Which they are, because the Queen was born here. So and Prince Philip is from Greece. So and all their children, are all born here. So there aren't any German connection. We can all go back in our history and find that we've got relations from different countries.
Yeah, I have a little bit of French in me. I've had a French.
Exactly, yes.
I've got a Frenchman in me. Just a little bit, not much.
It's 37 degrees in Poland.
Is it?
Thank you for telling us that. Poway, I think. It's I can't quite read your name there. So yes, very hot, in other words. And of course we know that European continental countries get very hot because they don't have the sea breeze. It gets very hot inland in Europe in the summer, as it gets very cold in the winter.
We have something big happening this week. We are going to hit 1 million subscribers. It's only taken 15 and a half years. By the way, if you are thinking of having 1 million subscribers on your YouTube channel, you might have to wait for about 15 years for it to happen. But trust me, it's worth the wait.
Unless you're doing something that is incredibly popular worldwide.
Oh, thanks.
Or unless you're in America, you're very likely to get there very quickly.
Oh, okay. Well, that's my ego around my ankles. That's good. Thanks, Steve. I needed that.
I'm just saying. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I feel slightly depressed now.
No, you don't.
Yes, you will only get good subscribers if you are good at.
No, what I'm saying is, if you're a very attractive girl with large breasts doing something, you are likely to get a lot of subscribers very quickly.
I can always put that right. These days you can swap it all around if you want. I might decide to have a little chop or a little bit of bloop bloop.
Or if you're somebody who is, and you like to sometimes watch these, Mr. Duncan, people who are making themselves overweight.
Yeah, well,
eating a lot.
Can I just say,
camera.
It's one of the biggest trends at the moment on YouTube is to get fat and film yourself getting fat. A lot of people now are trying it. Maybe I will do that. Maybe that is the thing that I have to do. Maybe I have to eat lots of food and get fat, and then more people will watch me as I become larger and larger. Is that a good idea?
Why don't you go the other way and just become slimmer?
Well,
Did you say that some people are doing that as well, becoming sort of anorexic?
Yes, well, both ways. Some people are slimming themselves down until they are almost invisible, and others are eating so much food they become giants.
Which ones are most interesting to watch?
I think they're both interesting to people.
But I mean, at least it must be more interesting, surely, to watch somebody putting weight on, because you can see them stuffing their face with food. Whereas if you're watching somebody who's slimming, they're not doing anything, are they?
I will be honest.
Presumably not eating anything.
Well, they could be throwing up in the corner of the room.
Yes, they could be doing that.
By the way, we're not making a joke of this. It is a serious subject, but there are lots of people doing this, and there are millions of people who want to watch that actually happening. So maybe these are things that we should try. When we pass 1 million subscribers, maybe we should start being a little bit more outrageous, a little bit more interesting with the things that we do.
Christina V.I. is watching us lying on the beach in Romagna, Italy.
Hello to the beach.
Romagna. How lovely.
It must be hot there.
Yes, it probably is. Is it hot, Christina, where you are on the beach? I would imagine it is, but it sounds delightful.
Oh, by the way, don't get sand in your iPhone or in your tablet device, because you don't want that, because it isn't very good for it. And don't go into the sea with your iPhone or your tablet device, because it won't do it any good. All that salt water, it will damage it.
And if you want to lose weight, do not work in a doctor's surgery. Certainly not in the UK, because patients give the staff in doctor's surgeries lots of cakes and chocolates. I was only reminded of that the other week when I went to see a customer of mine,
Okay.
and they were. I went upstairs to see practice manager, and the table in the room she was in was it was like a sort of room where they do have a meeting room. There were tins of sweets, there were chocolates, all sorts of things. And while I was there, somebody brought another one in. Oh, here's something else from a patient. And they're all, well, let's just say they find it very difficult to lose. What are you laughing at?
I'm just laughing.
They find it very difficult to lose weight because patients are constantly showing their appreciation for the work that is done for them.
So that maybe they're just trying not to eat the food themselves, so they are taking it to the doctors. Another one, of course, is I'm going to cough. By the way, excuse me. That's better. You did not want to hear.
It's the hay fever.
Why didn't you cough at the same time as me?
Well, I thought that would just be rude.
Yeah, but I turned the microphone off.
It's hot. It's pleasant, but it's in Italy on the beach, but it's windy. Light wind, hot but light. Well, you want a light wind on the beach because it keeps you cool, but at the same time, that can maybe you'll be less willing to put on sun cream because you think, oh, I don't feel that hot, but the sun's rays are baking you. As you're lying there.
They certainly are.
Your skin is aging.
You're being cooked.
Wrinkles will appear in later life. And you will regret it. No, I'm only joking.
Would you like to see some photographs? We have some lovely pictures sent in by our wonderful viewers. Here is one. We had this posted to us on Facebook. Dear Mr. Duncan, not only are your classes of English received by me and Mr. Steve, but also much more. Fortunately, I have got some Jaffa cakes sent to me by one of my friends in England as a gift. So apparently it is Rosa's cousin. Hello, Rosa. And did you enjoy your Jaffa cakes? There they are.
Look at that.
Yes, and it looks as if there's some chocolate there as well. So I hope you enjoyed your Jaffa cakes. A lot of people think that we get sponsored by the makers of Jaffa cakes.
Certainly should do.
We don't, but I think they should do. Here's another one, Steve, from Olga. Hello, Olga. There is Olga watching us, or watching me, on Friday when I was outside. And I love your socks. I love the fact that your socks have little eyes. So it looks as if your socks or your feet are actually watching me on the television. And also I like your television, it's really big. And also there is a selfie as well that Olga took with me. Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
See, now you can see how big I am in real life. I'm really huge. I'm like a giant. So thank you, Olga, for sending those photographs. And it's also nice to see you as well. And if you want to send anything, you are more than welcome to do so. I will give you the address. Would you like the address? Yes, here it is very quickly. If you want to send photographs, pictures, thank you messages, anything you want, as long as it's nice. Please, nothing else. Nothing too rude. Thank you very much. You can send all of those things to that particular address. As I mentioned, we are talking about music in a few moments as well, after 3 o'clock. However, there are some people at the moment, Steve, who are not very happy here in the UK. And do you know why? Well, I will tell you. Some people who have to travel by train and commute around the country are not very happy because this week the train drivers and all of the people connected to running the trains, making sure they run smoothly and safely, they are all going on strike. They are going to take industrial action. It's a great phrase, by the way, industrial action. So quite often it will be described as a strike. So one group of people, normally a union, will say that we want maybe more money, more pay, or maybe better working conditions. And then if they don't get that, they will actually stop working. They will put down their tools, or in this case, they will stop driving the trains, and then there will be no trains driving. So a lot of people are quite upset by that. And I'm just wondering, what about in your country? What about where you are? Do you have strikes? Do you ever find that people stop working as a protest? Because that's what it is, really, isn't it?
We know, well, from what we see, we know it certainly happens a lot in France.
Yes.
We do see, a lot of strikes because the unions are very strong, I think, in France. The unions, of course, in this country used to be much stronger, but certain conservative leaders, notably Margaret Thatcher, tried to destroy the power of the unions. And it's very controversial at the moment, the rail workers going on strike, because they have a lot of people, wages are not keeping up with inflation and haven't done over many years, but the rail workers' wages generally have kept pace. So, I mean, they do get it's very controversial because people are saying, well, rail workers already get paid very well.
Yes.
Now they're going on strike for more because they've got a very powerful union and because they know that they're likely to get what they want because they're effectively holding the country to ransom. Okay. And they know that the government will probably give in to their demands rather than see a lot of unrest around the country because people cannot get to work or they can't go to their destinations.
I suppose the irony is we've just had like 2 years of nothing really happening very much as everyone was in lockdown. So it is strange that everyone who has been working at home and enjoying that time are now complaining that they can't get to work.
And the other controversial thing is that the government bailed out the railways during the pandemic to the tune of £92 billion.
That's a lot of money.
Because if they hadn't been given that money, a lot of the companies that run the railways would have gone bankrupt.
I suppose it's very similar to what happened to the banks in 2008, when many banks who were going to go out of business were also given money. They were bailed out of that particular thing. But you know what this reminds me of?
The 70s?
The late 1970s. The late 1970s when everyone was on strike. The people who take the refuse away, the people who were working in the coal mines, the people driving the trucks, they all decided to go on strike in the late 1970s. And everything was quite chaotic. I remember the scenes of all of the garbage, all of the rubbish, the stinky, smelly rubbish all piling up in the streets everywhere.
And bodies weren't being buried either as well. There was a strike with people who deal with the burial of bodies at the time as well. So it was very unpleasant. But of course, what's happening at the moment is that we've got very tough economic conditions. Cost of living is going up, inflation, cost of energy, and that is, as the same thing happened in the 1970s, it is forcing certain groups of people who have leverage, who have, it's a public service and they know that if they go on strike, they're probably going to get their demands met.
Okay.
It starts to cause a big problem because the economy is not doing very well anyway. And then if the rail strikers go on strike, it's seen as quite selfish because that is having an impact on the economy. And it means that, nurses who work very hard and teachers will probably get less payout. But because the train drivers, it's such a crucial service.
Well, it's a necessary thing, isn't it?
That's
because
right.
People need to get on trains.
The people have got to trains, goods, of course, commodities, all travel by freight. You never see that, do you? It's quite unusual. You don't realise how much, how many goods travel on the railways because you never see goods trains. Very rarely when you go to a train station, you just see the passenger trains. But of course, behind the background, there's all these, coal, and probably not so much coal now, but lots of things being transported by rail. And of course, it would bring the whole economy to a standstill if it goes on for a long time.
Most of the goods are transported at night, I think.
Yes, so that's right. So you don't
it's
see
away
it.
from our eyes. But I suppose what also happens is if one group of people have a pay rise, then everyone else will also want it, which then, of course, will mean inflation will rise, things will become more expensive, and it is a never-ending cycle. It is a never-ending cycle. And of course, some people see it as unfair, don't they? People working in hospitals, healthcare during the pandemic had no choice, and some of them were working for many, many hours, but they are not having a pay rise. So I suppose there's more than one way of looking at this situation. If a group of people become angry or upset by something, maybe they feel as if they deserve more salary or better conditions, then I suppose if they are belonging to a group of people who are willing to do it, they will take action.
Well, you hit on a point there. Nurses in particular had to work through the pandemic in appalling conditions, and all they've had, I think, is a 1% pay rise this year, and yet they haven't gone on strike, and their pay is probably below that of a train driver, somebody who's saving lives. I mean, you can argue this point, but a lot of people think it's very selfish of them to use this advantage that they have in being able to bring the country to a standstill.
Well, there is
to get more money for themselves.
There is a healthcare union as well. I suppose that's worth pointing out. There is a nurses union as well. It's just that I think in this situation it seems a little unfair, or a little, as you said earlier, some people see it as selfish that you are asking for such a large pay rise during a situation where the average person is in a situation where they might be struggling. So maybe there's more than one way of looking at it. But it is amazing how we are all remembering the strikes and the industrial action of the late 1970s when we had no electricity.
I know.
The electricity kept just going off, and we spent sometimes maybe 2 or 3 days with no electricity.
Well, it was certain hours of the day, and there was a 4-day week where they shut down the factories for 1 day a week to save electricity, and they're actually contemplating that again now, apparently, because of the cost of gas and the lack of supply and the cost across Europe. They're actually contemplating shutting businesses down, which of course will make the economy go down. Then there's less money available, so which means it's living standard. It sort of can spiral down if you're not very careful.
Yeah, it's amazing how it gets out of control as well. But the other thing, the last time it happened in the 70s, it was winter, the winter time, which of course was a pretty bad time of year to do that when you think about it. And they called it the winter of discontent. And if you are discontent, it means you are unhappy. You are unhappy about a certain situation. So discontent, you are showing your anger. However, now they are trying to use the term summer of discontent. So here in the UK, we are talking about the summer of discontent. And in the late 70s, it was the winter of discontent.
If you're discontented, it means you're unhappy about a situation. Whereas if you are contented, it means you're happy with the way everything's going. I'm contented with my life at the moment, you could say. But yes, yes, Nitram. Thank you, Nitram. How people remember. Thank you very much. I am a Shirley Bassey fan. And Nitram, it's nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I thought I'd mention it before it passes.
Okay.
What did I think of Shirley Bassey's performance on the BAFTAs in March? Yes, considering she's 85. Wonderful. Yeah. Yes, it was lovely. Yeah. We didn't expect to see that, but thank you for remembering these little things.
Well, she did it live as well. Unlike many of the performers who appeared during the Platinum Jubilee celebrations. A lot of them were miming, including Diana Ross. She wasn't singing live. She was just like... Well,
I think
anyway,
I was...
We had this conversation. Let's
yes.
not do the conversation again.
I think they sing live, but they don't necessarily use the live version.
That's what not... But Shirley Bassey often insists on singing live. It's very rare that you will see...
She never mimes.
It's very rare that you will see Shirley Bassey mime or sing to something that's already been recorded.
Can I also mention somebody who I think's got a wonderful name? Well, it's wonderful to us because it sounds very exotic. And don't names of people from other countries and different languages often sound quite exotic to you? And here we've got Carmen Monteverdi.
Oh, yes. I like that one.
That sounds very exotic. Well, Carmen, of course, conjures up that famous opera. And Monteverdi, sounds very... From Brazil. Rio de Janeiro.
I could do that all day.
Are you an opera singer, Carmen? But yes, a very interesting and exotic sound. Well, it sounds exotic to us. Probably to you and other people in Brazil it doesn't, but to us it sounds very exotic.
So it would appear that a lot of people want to see Mr. Steve's mother next Sunday presenting with me, because Steve won't be here because he's doing something else. But it won't be as exciting as this. So if we can get Mr. Steve's mother on next week, even if I have to trick her by hiding the camera, and maybe we can just have a cup of tea together and she doesn't realise, and then we'll just do the show sitting on the sofa.
It's Father's Day in a lot of countries today.
Yeah, here,
including here.
Yes. So happy Father's Day to all the dads, all the daddies watching.
Oh, yes, people are talking about... I have the leverage to bail out. Right, okay, yes. Leverage is an interesting phrase. We might mention that another time. Yes, to have leverage, what does it mean? It means you've got some advantage.
Yes.
Yes, you have a bit of control.
Yes. Well, if you were trying to get something to move or something to change, you normally have to use a certain amount of force. So imagine trying to get a large stone out of the ground. You want to move that thing. You might have to put something underneath it and then lift.
Like a lever.
You are using leverage. So the thing you are using is actually applying force to move that thing. So leverage, it means...
You've got an advantage.
Yes.
Somewhere.
You are using force to make something happen. So people who are part of a union will have leverage because they can all go on strike and force the government to give them what they want.
And the leverage they have is that the disruption that they will cause if the government don't give in to them. It means they've got this power. You've got some extra power or advantage in a situation that other people don't have. And you can use that to your advantage. That's what that means. So the rail strikers have leverage against the government because if the government don't give way, they can go on strike, which they are, causing all that disruption, and they know they're going to cause that disruption, which is going to feed back into the government, probably giving way, but they'll compromise, I'm sure, but they'll end up with a bigger pay rise in the end than the average person.
Okay.
So they will use that. And that's using it in a negative way.
Well, leverage is rarely used positively. It's interesting. We often use leverage as something that is forcing another person's hand in a certain direction. Maybe in business as well. Business, if one company wants to force another one to sell their shares. They can have some leverage. Some force is used against them. Anyway,
yes, financial markets is an interesting one. When you refer to leverage in financial markets and buying shares and things, that means you borrow money which is a risky thing to do. But yes, having some advantage or some power over somebody else or another group of people. You might think that you might be able to achieve something because you've got something. You might be going for a job. You might have some leverage when you're going for a job. You might have higher qualifications than somebody else, for example, or you might have more experience than the other candidates. That gives you leverage and advantage, a bit of power.
I think we've pretty much covered the meaning of leverage.
So thank you for asking. This is what this is all about, of course.
Apparently. Will you be joining us for our millionth subscriber? We are approaching 1 million subscribers. But the only problem is we don't know when it's going to happen. So I will be keeping a very close eye on the subscriber count as it approaches.
Are you saying that you may well go live if it's, for example, during the day?
Yes. If I'm asleep in bed, then no, it won't happen. But hopefully it will happen in the morning or during the day. Of course, we all know it won't. We all know that the 1 millionth subscriber will happen at about 3 o'clock in the morning, or maybe just as your mother arrives. We've picked a really good week for this, by the way. This is going to be one of the busiest weeks that both of us have had.
It will be. I've got a lot going on with work.
He's got a show.
There's a show on. I've got to go to rehearsals for that because it's in next month, so it's getting quite close now. Exactly.
Oh, yes. Neat asks, speaking of music, Mr. Duncan, are you aware of the song that is now number 1 in the British charts? Yes, I know all about it. We're running up that hill, we're running up that hill, we're running up that hill, and very soon I will be over that hill.
You mean over the hill?
Yeah. Thank you, Steve.
If you're over the hill, it means you have past usefulness.
So Kate Bush. Yes, Kate Bush, who had a big hit. I think it was in the was it the 1980s? Way back in the 1980s. Who remembers the 1980s? Such a long time ago. And it's back at the top of the charts again because of that TV show that I've never seen.
Has she re-recorded it, or is it the original recording that's
As I understand it, it's a version. It's a different version, but I think it's a remix of the original song. So basically, I think it is the original song.
Is it an R&B version?
No, it is not.
Because
there is no rap taking place.
That probably would make it go up. Are there even charts still? Do people still... What is it? What did you say? It's number 1 in the charts.
Well, yes, the music charts.
But does anyone actually pay any attention to the music charts anymore?
Yes.
Do they?
Yes, especially people who are in the charts.
I didn't even know it's still... Because you don't never hear it referred to anymore, do you? Because
well, we don't because we're old. But young people know exactly who's where.
Are there still programmes like Top of the Pops where people see the charts?
On the radio they talk about the charts all the time.
Do they? Right.
There are shows, the Chart Show, which is basically and of course Music TV, they always talk about the music charts.
You mean MTV?
It is not MTV. But anything to do with music is what I'm trying to say. Yes. So the charts are important. It's just that we're old farts and we don't care now. When we were teenagers, you see, it was very important to us what music was around and where it was in the music charts. But we don't care anymore because we're old and we have more important things to think about, like bills and
I don't think
not dying.
It used to be much more prominent, didn't it?
Okay. You're just going to
music chart. Well, it did used to be because I think now they don't. I don't know, but I get the impression now that because musicians make very little money from selling recordings, that it's just not really. They make all their money from live performances now.
Yes,
don't
that's
they?
part of it, but they still exist.
There
is still a music chart. There's still an album chart, and there's still various different charts of different types of music. It all still exists. It's just that we don't care anymore because we have the adult things to think about now.
Music charts, yes. Florence just wants to know what the music charts are. It's just who's number one.
Yes.
In the hit parade.
Well, the oh my God.
They don't call it the hit parade anymore.
It's just basically the best-selling music.
Yes.
The music that sells the most during a period of time. And don't say hit parade because no one's going to know what you mean.
What have you heard of the show Stranger Things?
I have. That's what it's from.
Ah, right.
Running Up That Hill is taken from the Netflix series. It's probably the only successful thing that's on Netflix at the moment.
Well, Nitram recommends that we watch it. It's a breath of fresh air.
It's boring. I tried to watch the first season of Stranger Things and I found it so boring. It was just people talking and talking and talking, and then the lights went off, and then someone was shining a torch, and then it was just so boring. I didn't like it. Maybe it's not aimed at me. I don't know why. Watching teenage children running around with torches is not that interesting to me, I'm afraid.
Well, sorry, Nitram. Duncan doesn't like it.
Although having said that, I do like Kate Bush. Because we remember Kate Bush. We remember when Kate Bush first appeared out of nowhere, and we were all amazed because she was so unusual with her Wuthering Heights.
Eccentric.
Wuthering Heights.
And her amazing operatic voice.
Doing her interesting dances.
Tiksha is here after a long absence due to taking exams.
Oh, I hope your exams went well.
And yes, please tell us what those exams were. Were they English exams or was it something else? Yeah, okay.
Good. I always love the moment where Steve runs out of steam.
Well, I'm just running out of things to say.
I know. Well, that's what I mean. I know it's not offensive. I'm not criticising you, Mr. Steve. Don't worry.
Yes, Bucko, it is correct to say a police series or a crime series. Yes, if you've got programmes, with all the same people in it, and there's several, many of them, probably more than 6. You would call it a series, So that show, what were we talking about? Stranger Things is a series, is it? Presumably.
Yes, it's. I think it's in its 4th series now.
It means a series is one follows another one.
Yes, or a group of episodes that are together. So there's 4 series now. We say series, but in the States they say seasons.
Right.
But it's basically the same thing. So it's season 4. Or here we will say series 4, but it's basically the same thing. I don't like, no, I'm sorry. Although we don't have Netflix anymore. I got rid of it. And to be honest, I don't miss it at all. Because most of the stuff on there is rubbish. And that's it, really.
Tiksha says yes, English literature exams.
Oh, okay.
So that's quite different. Drop the pen, Mr. Duncan. I'll just go and pick it up.
Okay. Hello, welcome.
It's live. Anything can happen.
Yes, it certainly does. Anything certainly does happen.
English literature, maybe a bit of Shakespeare in there. Who knows? So yes, you've got to have a very good grasp of the English language before you start taking English literature. So you must be high up on the understanding of English language scale. So well done. I hope you passed your exams. Addy used to listen to Kate Bush while skating.
Yes.
I wonder why.
I think you can skate very nicely and gracefully when you're listening to some of Kate Bush's songs. Kate Bush, a lot of her music is sort of ethereal. Would that be a good word? It's like mist coming towards you. It's like something that's floating around and is everywhere.
I'm skating down that hill. I'm skating down that hill.
I'm falling on my arse.
You could change the.
I'm
the
falling
songs
on
to-
my arse.
Is that what you're saying?
I slipped
AD?
over. So,
Bush was born in 1958. Oh, so she's 3 years older than me.
yes, she's an old lady now.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. Well, no, but she's in the prime of her life, probably.
Not as old as your mum.
No, well, yes, exactly.
Hmm.
So, what is the theme of today, Mr.
Well,
Duncan?
the thing I've mentioned 3 times.
Well, I think that pause gives you the opportunity to mention it again.
Here we go. Today's subject is...
Excellent, Mr. Duncan. Well, you might have noticed, because I've got to use... By the way, that is not something to be played around with, Mr. Duncan.
Oh, I got a note then. Wait there. I got a note. I played the violin then. Did you hear that? I'm excited now. I want to learn how to play the violin.
People might... Let's put this into context
Do we have
for
to?
our
Yes.
viewers.
Can I do it? You're in a show and there's violin playing involved, but
Yes,
Steve
I'm in a show.
Steve doesn't play the violin.
I've got to pretend to play a violin.
Yes.
Orpheus in the Underworld is what it's called. It's a musical. It's an operetta by Offenbach,
Yes.
and it's a comedy about Greek gods.
Yes.
It's a comic opera about Greek gods, and I'm playing Orpheus.
Are you one of the Greek gods?
I'm Orpheus, but in this comic opera, Orpheus plays the violin, and I have to pretend to play it, but somebody in the orchestra will be actually playing it.
Yes.
And so that doesn't make a noise, I've put a sock under the strings,
Oh.
which is why it's not playing correctly.
Oh, that's why it won't work.
Yeah, because I can't, I've got to look as though I'm playing it, but I don't want any sound to come out of it, so I'll put a sock under the strings.
Yes.
I'm so clever.
You should try it when you sing. Put a sock in your mouth.
Yes, so yes, if anyone looks up Orpheus in the Underworld, actually it's very interesting, the Greek gods.
Is it?
Yes, it's quite interesting to read about them because they've all got their own sort of little talents, haven't they?
They have.
Yes.
I believe Morpheus was always sleeping. He was the god of sleep.
Well, this is a comic.
He's my favourite, by the way.
This is a comic operetta.
Okay.
But I looked up the story of Orpheus, and it's very sad. Because I just really sort of touched me when I read it. It's all myth. Obviously, it's not fact.
Well, no, it's not. There are no historical documents.
Have we got anybody from Greece watching? Yeah. So Orpheus was married to Eurydice. They were very much in love.
I had that once. The doctor gave me some medicine for it.
Anyway, Eurydice was kidnapped by Pluto and taken to the underworld.
To Mickey Mouse.
And to hell, effectively, and to Hades. And Orpheus went to try and rescue his wife, and Pluto said, yes, you can have her back. You must walk forward up from Hades, towards the surface of Earth again.
Mm-hmm.
And if you manage to, Eurydice, your wife must follow you, and you must walk back towards Earth, and if you look back at any point, you will lose her forever. And so what happened is that Orpheus got all the way nearly to the top, and then he forgot and looked back. The portal closed, and he lost her forever. And I thought that was very sad. I just thought it was very sad.
So the moral of the story is don't look back and always keep your portholes open.
Exactly.
Yes.
I just thought it was a very sad story.
Yeah.
It sort of made me very tearful. Somebody that you love and you've nearly got them back.
A bit like the audience.
And then They're gone forever.
I think the audience will be very...
Stood there looking.
Okay.
The portal was closed and he never saw her again. Imagine that. What a tragedy.
Yes, it certainly will be.
Oh, Hannah says, I'm a witch.
No.
But no, she's pretending she's an actress. We have a tradition on the 7th of July. Magic tradition. Oh, right. Okay. Do you have a broomstick?
So Hannah says, Hannah actually says, I'm an actor too, or an actress, if you want to be old-fashioned. Yes. I will play a witch. We have a tradition on the 7th of July. It is Avano Kupala, some magic tradition. Sounds interesting. Lots of people in the street, I would imagine, dancing and singing, playing their musical instruments. Did you see what I did there?
Very clever. Very clever.
Oh. You
segued.
You know what? They should pay me to do this. They really should.
Yeah.
They really should pay me to do this because I'm such good value for money.
See, I've just borrowed.
Can you not see you sticking that pen in my face?
This is just a prop. It is an actual violin, but it's a prop that I'm using. I've only got a small part in it, Mr. Duncan.
Yes, so we've heard.
Orpheus, even though it's the title in the operetta, it's only a very small part in it, which I was quite thankful for, to be honest. But it's a bit of fun anyway.
We'll take your word for that.
Right.
I will be looking after your mother this time next week, and I will try to get her on the show. Even if I have to put something in her tea. And she will just be here, unconscious, next to me, dribbling. I will have her here somehow.
Have we got anybody from Greece watching?
Hello, Greece. I think so.
Anybody from Greece watching?
One of my friends has recently been to Greece. I think he's doing a tour of Europe. And a few days ago, he was in Corfu. But now I think he's in Slovenia now.
Really?
He seems to be going all over the place. So yes, there's at least one person who we know who's been near Greece.
Have we got anybody from Greece watching us now? Maybe they could give us some insights into the Greek gods.
Hannah says, yes, we jump and we throw the fire. We juggle the fire. Oh. I would imagine there's a lot of flames and a lot of fire. It sounds a bit like your version of hell from your show.
There's no flames on the stage.
Yes. Well, people often think of witches and things that are maybe evil spirits, maybe a place where all of the spirits come from or go to if you are naughty. So, yes, it can happen. I think so. Anyway, we are looking at music today, and I suppose now would be a good time to start doing it. Because that's why we're here, you see. That's why we're here, Mr. Steve. That's what we do.
We've got 34 minutes.
For people who know what we do, you know what's going to happen. But for those who don't know what it is, then, we will explain very briefly. We're going to take a look at some words, phrases connected to a certain subject. Today, it is all about music phrases. So not necessarily words and phrases that are used in music, but maybe phrases and words that can be used in other ways in the English language. And that's one of the reasons why I love English. It's one of the reasons there are so many ways of expressing things, using different words, different phrases, different things. 100 DOB says, I hope that Mr. Duncan will become the next Paganini, or as I always call him, Page 9.
Andre, who's the popular Andre Yu, is it, or Yu? Somebody quite popular who plays the violin.
Yes.
But there's always somebody popular playing the violin. Every 10 years somebody new comes along.
We used to have Nigel Kennedy.
Yes.
But then he got that big thing on his neck because so many years of playing the violin, it made his... Apparently he couldn't get the violin from under his chin. It's there permanently now. his skin on his face is grown around the violin. So when he walks around, he's still got the violin all the time. It's there all the time.
Wow.
Which is very useful, I suppose, because it means you can play the violin at any moment. Music phrases.
Right.
Here we go. Oh, I like this one. So this is something you might recognise, Steve. Do you recognise it?
If music be the food of love, play on.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
You see, that
So
sounds...
is this an idiom? Would you describe this as
well,
an
it's
idiom?
a phrase. It's a phrase from literature. If music be the food of love, play on.
Well, I'm sure there's a certain person on here who's been taking their English literature exams,
Yes.
may well be able to tell us where that comes from. So here's a test you weren't expecting. Now, who was it? I can't remember. But yes, please tell us. We'd like to know what you think before we give the answer.
If music be the food of love, play on. What we are actually saying there is something that is attractive, or something that makes you feel good, or maybe something that gives you a lot of pleasure. Normally, it is something that you don't want to end. You want it to carry on. So if music is the food of love, please keep playing. Don't stop.
Teacher.
Okay.
You should know the answer to this if you've been taking English literature exams.
Don't stop.
So please tell us.
Okay, Steve. Don't stop the music. I've got these things to do now, Steve.
Okay, yes.
We've got to move on. Here we go. Some phrases now. Bold as brass.
Or brass.
Yes, brass. We'll
Brass
just say,
or brass?
We'll just say brass for now.
That's a musical term, is it?
It is. Bold as brass. Well, it's a term that's using brass, which is a type of instrument, quite often metallic. Can you name some brass instruments?
Trumpet.
Oh yes, yes,
Trumpet. Yes.
yes.
That's a bold instrument, isn't it? A tuba or a what's that one? Trombone. I want to play the trumpet, actually. Oh, I see. Sounds like something else is going on, Mr. Duncan.
I'm sorry, I'm not very good at that. So there it is. Brass. Trombone. Yes, trombone.
Trombone, yes.
That's the one.
The horn.
Yes, I get that.
Have you got the horn, Mr. Duncan?
I used to get the horn quite often.
There we go, yes. So, yes.
But then I lost it.
I suppose there's sort of... Is that where the phrase comes from, then? As bold as a brass instrument?
Yeah, something that's... Well, I suppose something that's very clear and very easy to see. Bold as brass, which means to be shameless and without fear.
So you go straight up to your boss and you say, I think this company is rubbish and you need to make some big improvements.
That's it.
Somebody might say, whoa, he's as bold as brass.
Yes.
Might have got the sack.
Yes.
But he was very bold.
Yeah, courageous.
Courageous, even.
You might say courageous, a person who has no shame, or you do something without fear. You do it as bold as brass.
Or just bold. You
Yes.
don't have to say as brass or brass, as I would say.
That's it.
But yes, bold, you're fearless.
That's it. Bold as brass.
Say what you think.
It's a great phrase. Here we go. Oh, here's another one. Oh, this is quite good. This refers to the thing that I was waving around earlier. To be on the fiddle. On the fiddle.
Yes, I wonder where that phrase comes from.
If you are on the fiddle, then of course we are looking at a certain musical instrument. You are on the fiddle. It means also that you are taking money or taking something secretly. Quite often if you are committing fraud, if you are taking money from someone secretly, we can say that that person is on the fiddle.
Maybe you are in an organisation and you are responsible for taking in the funds. The local bowls club, for example, and people are giving you their subscriptions, but you are not putting the money in the bank. You are taking some of it for yourself.
Yes.
you're on the fiddle.
Yes.
Yes.
So we often do use that when we are talking about money being stolen, if there is some sort of fraud taking place.
Just going back to your very first phrase, if music be the food of love, play on. Thank you, teacher. She's so clever. She's just done her exams. It's an excerpt from Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, which is the Duke's opening line.
Yes.
So thank you very much for that.
The opening line, if music be the food of love, play on. Give me more of that wonderful music. And I suppose you might say that to some people, music is nourishment. It is something that gives people pleasure, and maybe if they are feeling unhappy or down, a piece of music can nourish a person. I think so. I think that's possible. Very possible, in fact. Here's another one, Steve. Oh, drum up. If you drum up, for example, drum up support, it means you are trying to get other people to do something. You are encouraging people to do something. You drum up support. You drum up enthusiasm. You are trying to get people to do that particular thing. So to encourage others, for example, to give help, you ask them or you try to drum up support. And of course it refers to the drum, the marching band drum, which normally leads the procession. So you are encouraging people to do that particular thing.
Yes, you might want to set up a charity. You might want to set up a support group. It could be anything, and you want to get other people involved, and so you drum up support. You go around. You might tell people about it. You might advertise somewhere on the internet, or you might go on to social media or something like that. You're trying to get support for something. It could be a charity, and you want people to recognise that charity and maybe give to that charity. But it could be anything.
Yes.
It might be you might want to drum up support for somebody who's leaving work. Maybe they're retiring or something, and you want to drum up some support to give them a present before they leave. Yeah, it just means you've got to do something to get other people involved. You've got to put some effort in. You've got to go onto social media, or you've got to talk about it, phone people up, and you send other people out maybe to help you as well. Drum up support.
Here's another one.
You could be a cause. Yes, you could be. For example, the rail workers might be trying to drum up support for their strike. I mean, good luck. They probably won't get very much, but they might be asking other sections of society or certain politicians to be in their say in their favour.
Well, what often happens, because we did mention this earlier, when one group of people go on strike, they will often try to get support from other groups of people or other unions, and that's the reason why what you find when there is a lot of industrial action, it doesn't just affect one thing, it affects many things, because lots of different areas in manufacturing or the way things are transported, they will all take their own form of industrial action. They will all go on strike. So yes, that is actually a good way of describing that. Here's another one, Steve.
Thank you, 100 Dob, who's admiring my shirt.
Good.
Thank you.
Here we go. So this is what I had earlier. You may have... I'm not very good, I'm afraid. To blow your own trumpet. To blow your own trumpet. Nothing else. To blow your own trumpet is to brag and boast. You are showing off about a certain achievement. Maybe something you have, maybe something you've just bought, maybe you've been somewhere very lovely and expensive and now you want to show off to your friends so they know all about it. You blow your own trumpet, or maybe your own achievements. You talk about the things you've done. Oh, I'm so good I'm such a brilliant person. I'm very, very good.
Yeah, so you're not relying on other people to talk about your achievements or your abilities. You're doing it yourself. You're showing off, bragging, boasting. Oh, I'm such a brilliant violinist. Oh, yes, I've played all the music halls. Everybody loves me. You something like that. Or
I performed for the Queen.
Yes, you're talking about yourself.
Yes.
Whereas the nice way to do it is to let other people do it. But of course, if you don't brag and boast about yourself, quite often nobody else is going to do it.
That's it.
And sometimes you do need to blow your own trumpet.
Yes.
We're not saying that you don't need to. Sometimes people need to know what your abilities are, and if nobody else, you can't often rely on other people to tell your boss how good you are at something. You've got to tell them. You've got to let them. That's how a lot of people get on in life.
It is easy to be too modest.
Yes.
And hide all of your talents. So sometimes it is good. It is good to blow your own.
Booker, yes, I think you could say blow your own horn. You could say that as well.
Yes.
Booker Dragos, yes. You could blow your own horn as well, which again is a loud brass instrument. So that was the idea. Everyone can hear what you're saying.
That's it. Here we go. Another one, Steve.
Oh, we've got somebody new to the chat. Darius is new to the chat. So yes, I'm reading it. Welcome,
Darius Niedzila. Hello to you. Nice to see you here today.
Very welcome. And please feel free to make any comment you like, as long as it's, complimentary.
Well, you can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean people will see it, but you can say whatever you want. Never miss a beat, Mr. Steve, as we have more phrases.
Never miss a beat.
Yes. If you never miss a beat, it means you put on a perfect performance. You did not make any mistakes. You didn't miss a beat. You didn't make any mistakes. There were no faults. It was perfect. A person who always does things well, they never miss a beat.
Yes, you could be making a speech and you do it very eloquently. You don't fluff any words or any lines. It doesn't have to be, you can't have to be singing or playing an instrument. It could be you're giving a talk at work or something like that, or a sales presentation or whatever it is. And you did it very well, flawlessly. You didn't hesitate at all.
That's a good one. Never miss a beat. Here we go.
Booker says very kindly, you never miss a beat with this live learning, live stream.
Well, I hope we don't. As we are approaching 1 million subscribers, I only wish, and my only thought is that 1 million people watched our live streams. That would be very nice.
The other thing is it true, Mr. Duncan, to encourage more people to watch your videos? It's you need to obviously. I've forgotten the word.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. That's it. There we are. I just missed a beat then.
Yes.
I just missed a beat. So we're not flawless. That they need to click on the bell icon as well, don't they?
That's it. Yes, to be notified.
Yes.
Yes. So when you subscribe, don't just subscribe. You have to also make sure that you will receive the messages when we are on or when we are doing something. So quite often I will put my live stream on before it begins. And of course, another thing that we like is your lovely happy thumbs underneath this video. So there is a place where you can click like, and there it is. So please give us a lovely like as well, because you might not realize just how valuable one of these is. Very valuable things.
That tells YouTube that Mr. Duncan is popular and sends Mr. Duncan out to more people.
Yes.
Which helps this channel. And yes, I never understood that. If you don't click on the bell icon, you can subscribe. But if you don't click on the bell icon, you never find out. You don't get notified of new videos.
Yes. And so sometimes it can be a problem if people don't know when you are actually going to be on, or when you are on.
Whereabouts is it? Is it?
Well, it's under there if you subscribe, and there's normally a bell next to it as well.
Right.
So when you subscribe, you can also activate the notifications, so you will never miss anything. Although I think a lot of people don't realise it.
Bucor says that you deserve 1 billion. So maybe in 15 years' time.
15 years? I think 1 billion. I don't think mankind will exist anymore. I think it will be just insects and maybe the occasional aardvark.
Has anyone got 1 billion subscribers?
Yes, not billion subscribers, but they certainly have billions of views.
Right.
Can you imagine that? I think I have about 78 million views on my YouTube channel in total. 78 million. Which sounds a lot, but these days it isn't. As I said the other day, people say, oh, 1 million subscribers. It's nothing nowadays, unfortunately, because most big YouTubers have 5, 6 or even 7 million subscribers.
Well, that's the next aim, Mr. Duncan. We're not stopping at 1, we're going for 2.
Yeah.
And instead of 15 years, we want it in 5 years.
I think I will be dead.
Maybe 2 years.
I will be dead before we get to 2 million.
Well, if everybody always clicks on the like button, then that will happen faster. So maybe everybody watching now, if you click on the like button, please do it, then Mr. Duncan might get more subscribers quicker. And then we might reach 1 million.
I'm not getting any younger. I am getting older and older. So when I'm sort of drawing my last breath, maybe we will get to 2 million.
It just helps Mr. Duncan's channel to reach more people and for Mr. Duncan to be able to put more content on and things like that.
And hopefully make some money as well, so I can actually buy some new shoes.
I don't have to keep,
No, Steve.
Celebration with a party. Well, we have got a bottle of champagne that somebody gave us years ago, and we will open that.
Yes.
Maybe live.
Unless, of course, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, in which case it won't happen. I will be fast asleep in bed.
But we can at least then report it the next day.
Okay.
And,
where we are running out of time.
15 minutes to go.
To harp on about something. Musical phrases. To harp on. If you harp on about something, it means you keep talking about something incessantly. Maybe the same thing or the same subject. Like Mr. Steve with his insurance this week. He kept talking about it all the time. And I said, Mr. Steve, please, give it a rest.
Yes, you just keep talking about the same subject, maybe repeating what you said, and it just gets a bit boring, and people will say to you, will you stop harping on about that incident you had on the road? Maybe somebody upset you at work, and it was probably a minor thing. Oh, will you stop harping on about that girl at work that insulted you?
Okay.
Or, will you stop harping on about how wonderfully you made that meal the other night?
Yes.
Or something. Yes, it just means something you just keep talking about and you won't stop talking about it, and it's getting very boring for the person that uses that phrase.
Like Mr. Steve when he talks about finance.
Well, that's it. You could say, I like to harp on about Ford Mustangs.
Well, not really. Not anymore. I can't remember the last time you mentioned
I'm just
them.
using it. Well, all right. I like to harp on about Shirley Bassey.
Oh, that's...
I like to harp on about cars. It means I like to talk about it a lot, and some people might not find that interesting.
Here's another one. We've got to get through these now. We've only got about another 30 to go. Many a good... this is for us.
Just quickly. Olga says, is harp on similar to moan? No, it's not moaning. You might be moaning about something, but it's not necessarily moaning. It just means you could be moaning about something, but it's just you're talking about something a lot.
Yes. Incessant. You are talking about something over and over, and it's becoming tedious and boring.
If I just talk about cars all the time, then that is... I'm not moaning about cars. I'm talking about, but I could be going on about something. I could be moaning about the state of the economy.
Yes.
And you myself harping on about the economy. So I could be moaning, Olga,
Okay.
but it's not necessarily moaning.
We really have to move on, Steve.
My wife is harping on about a new dress, says Booker. I harp on about your lessons, says. Look, it's lovely when people give examples. So, yes, so Power is saying...
Well, that means they're talking too much about it. And
they're
it's
talking
annoying.
about your lessons to other people,
But it's
which is
negative.
good.
It's negative.
But it's a good example.
It's a negative
Yeah, to be
phrase.
fed up with someone's chatting.
Yeah. I'm sick of hearing you talk about Mr. Duncan.
Emin, yes, that is true. Tedious, becoming tedious.
Anyway,
yes.
Steve.
Well, it's lovely when people give their own examples.
It is. Many a good tune, this is for us, by the way, many a good tune can be played on an old fiddle. I think this really does apply to us.
Speak for yourself.
So even though something is old, even though something is worn out, maybe something good can still come from it or be done with it. Many a good tune can be played on an old fiddle. So
if you were elderly, that phrase would indicate that you've still got something to give. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to play an instrument. It's a metaphor, isn't it? You could be... So an elderly person with a lot of experience might be able to give a lot of advice or might still be able to do something that they used to do very well and better than somebody that's younger. So you can... Just because you're old doesn't mean you can't do something still. You know, somebody... Oh, don't you bother trying to learn an instrument at your age... Learn how to play an instrument at your... Well, that's probably not a good example.
That is the worst example. No, maybe if you're looking for a new partner,
yes,
and you are maybe getting on, you are old, and you know they're saying, "Oh no, I don't think you will find a partner now. I don't think you will find a lovely woman now because you're quite old." And then that person might say, "Hey, wait a minute. Many a good tune can be played on an old fiddle," which means there is still lots of life left in me.
Yes.
I still have a lot to offer. Many a good tune can be played on an old fiddle.
Maybe not as good as when you were younger, but you can still do, you know, you can still... And literally, it could be literally applied to music as well, because there are many performers, you know, like Shirley Bassey. You know, she can still sing, not as well as she used to, but she can still, you know, sing a good tune.
So in that case...
that is literally...
Yes, but in that... Well, it's still figurative, though, isn't it?
If that's that is figurative, yes.
As I've never seen Shirley Bassey play a fiddle.
Yes, yeah, exactly, yes.
Maybe she has fiddled, which is a completely different thing altogether. Many a good tune can be played on an old fiddle. Yes,
Tadzika, it's not used to describe somebody playing on an old instrument. It's a metaphor for something else. It just means when you're elderly, when you're old, I'm the old fiddle, say, but maybe I could still do a lot of the things I could do when I was younger. Maybe not quite as well, but it would still be recognised as, oh yeah, that's good.
Some of those things might take a bit longer to do.
Yeah.
Moving along.
So if somebody's watching who's, you know, senior years, and somebody criticises them or laughs at them when they want to do something new, you can use that phrase. Many an old fiddle, many a tune. A good tune can be played on an old fiddle.
Unless, here's another one, Steve. To have another string to your bow. Now, this is often mistaken for a musical expression, but it isn't. It has nothing to do with playing a musical instrument, because quite often you will use one of these, you see. So this is the reason why I have this with me. So this is called a bow. It's huge. It's much larger than you realise. And it goes right across the screen. There it is. And you can see it. And there are lots of little pieces of hair. I'm not sure what this is. Is it horsehair?
I think it's yes. Or is it catgut?
No,
I think it's yes. I think it's yes.
I don't want to think of This is the inside of a cat.
No, the strings I think the strings on a violin are made from catgut, aren't they?
Yes, on the bow.
But I think that's sort of supposed to be sort of traditionally some kind of hair.
Yes.
Yes.
So it has nothing to do with this particular thing. In fact, it is to do with the thing that you fire. Like that.
A bow and arrow.
So the bow, in this particular case, is actually the bow that you...
As in a bow and arrow?
Yes. So
that's confusing things, putting that bow up.
Well, no, I was just saying it's nothing... No, because I've just said it's nothing to do with this.
Right.
So that the confusion is... Anyway... So this is not the bow that we're talking about. It is the bow that you use to fire an arrow instead. So that's what we actually use it as. If you have an extra string, it means you will never have a broken bow, because sometimes your string might break.
Yes.
So you have another string to add to your bow. So you will always have the ability to fire your arrows.
Yeah, so that means you've got an extra skill or an ability.
That's it.
So, for example, I say you're not very good at computers. You might go on a course to learn all about how to do Excel, for example, spreadsheets. You don't know anything about spreadsheets, and so you can add that to your CV, and you can say, well, that's another string to my bow, another skill that you've added. So maybe you're not very good at public speaking or giving speeches, and you go on a course to tell you all about that. Maybe you aren't very good at learning English, but you go on a course to learn how to speak English, and you can get jobs then where you need to speak English. And you can say, well, that's an extra string to my bow. I now have that extra skill that I can put on my CV to talk about. By the way, yeah. So that's how that's used. Olga says, is there a difference between a fiddle and a violin? It's a very good question.
That is a very good question. I think it's all to do with the size, and I think it's also the number of strings, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure, yes.
Well, I'm just saying I think that is the difference. There is the difference in the size, but I'm sure it has something to do with the strings as well.
But a fiddle is like a sort of a slang word for a violin.
Yes,
quite often
but
it
is a specific type of instrument as well.
Yes, quite often Irish music, they use a fiddle in Irish music. So I think there are, as you say, technical differences between a fiddle and a violin, maybe, but often fiddle is used as a sort of slang word for a violin. Because I know somebody that plays, if you play a violin in an orchestra, they often refer to it as a fiddle. But as you say, the fiddle, I think technically there is a difference. But in essence, they're the same thing.
Yes. To have another string to your bow is the one we just looked at. Here's another one, Steve. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, okay. Sylvia says, in Portuguese, we say, old pots can be used to make good food.
Yes.
That's a similar...
That's it.
Thank you. Violin is a little bigger, says Emin. Yes. I think you're right there. Yes, old pots can be used to make good food. So just because something's old doesn't mean you can't get something useful out of it.
Yes. Just because we're old, it doesn't mean we're not useful anymore. We have our uses. There aren't many, but we still have our uses. Here we go, Steve. To tinkle the ivories.
Ah, right.
Oh. Now, this is an expression that is used when we are talking about playing the piano. So if you tickle the ivories, what we are actually saying is you are playing the piano. To tinkle the ivories, and there you can see a piano. This one is very small. You can't play this one unless you are tiny. To tinkle the ivories is to play the piano. And the reason why they say that, or why the expression is used, is because the white keys on a keyboard traditionally were made from ivory. That's not very nice, is it?
I know.
Yeah.
Tusks.
So when you see these lovely old pianos, these ancient grand pianos like this, don't forget, when you're touching those keys, you are touching the lovely ivory from those lovely animals that have been killed over the years.
Yes.
So you might say that pianos are not very kind to the animal kingdom when you think about it. I think these days they don't use ivory. I think they use plastic or
Yes.
something that imitates. But if you see old pianos, like an old Steinway, there is a good chance that the white keys are actually made of ivory. Ugh, not very nice.
Well, we used to have the handles of knives and forks.
Yes.
Expensive knives and forks were often made of ivory.
Yes.
Um,
And of course, ivories also quite often refer to teeth as well. You can show your ivories like
Yes.
this if you were smiling. And of course, there was a famous song as well, wasn't there? A famous song by Stevie Wonder and Paul McCartney. Ebony and ivory live together in perfect harmony, side by side on my piano keyboard. Oh Lord, why can't we?
Dorothy says the hair on a bow is made of ponies' tails hair.
Yes,
Just so that we clear that one up. So a horse's hair or a pony's tail,
that's it.
because it's nice and long.
Yes. Do you know how much a piano costs? If you wanted to buy one of these, Steve, now,
A grand piano.
a new one. Can you believe how much they cost? I was quite shocked.
Well, somebody I know who's got a grand piano wanted to have it refurbished,
Okay.
and it was going to cost them something like £20,000
Yes.
just to have it refurbished.
Well, if you wanted to buy one of these now from a shop, you are talking between £15,000 and £20,000
Wow.
for a piano. But one that looks like this. So this particular one is a grand piano. You can get small pianos which are called upright. So an upright piano is the much smaller one. But this one, a grand piano, and I think there is also a baby grand as well. There is a baby grand piano which is slightly smaller than a grand piano. But they are incredibly expensive.
You need a big room.
You never want to drop them down the stairs either. Never drop your piano down the stairs like Laurel and Hardy. So to tinkle the ivories is to play the piano. Here's another one, Steve.
If you tinkle something,
Yes.
it means you're sort of lightly doing it, aren't you?
Something that's done lightly.
Yes.
Tinkle.
Something tinkles, it just makes a sort of a light sort of sound.
When I was a child, I used to go for a tinkle at the toilet. You have a little tinkle. It means having a wee-wee.
The sound
Yes.
refers to the sound, a sort of a tinkle. It's got a certain sound.
What, when you have a wee? To pull out all the stops. This is what we do every week on English Addict. We like to pull out all the stops. It means you give all of your effort. You put everything, like Mr. Steve has today. Mr. Steve has put all of his effort and his enthusiasm. You can tell, you can almost feel. If you put your hand on your monitor, you will be able to feel the heat coming from Mr. Steve, the energy coming from him.
The stops, of course, referred to, we're talking about the instrument is an organ.
Ooh, I used to play the organ when I was a child.
A big church organ with all these stops, and the more the stops you pull out, the louder it gets.
My uncle had a big organ.
So yes, pull out all the stops, give it all your effort. The organ gets louder and louder.
Yes.
And yeah.
My Uncle Peter had an organ. It was in one of his rooms in the house, and we used to go around sometimes and listen to him and watch him play his organ.
But what you're thinking about there is those traditional big church organs with all those white stops that you pull out, and the more you pull out, the more sound it makes.
Like that. So there they are.
I pulled out all the stops in my job interview.
There they are. So
oh, lovely.
Pulling out the stops. And quite often the stops will also allow you to make different sounds as well. Different sounds will be produced by the organ.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's you could say I went for the job interview. How did you do? I pulled out all the stops. So you gave them everything about yourself. You told them that you made every effort. You didn't hold anything back.
No.
It doesn't have to be a performance on a stage. It could be just it could be anything that you do, presentation at work, anything. Yeah.
So to pull out all the stops. Do you want to see a big organ? Here it is. Here's one, Steve. This is
It's been a few years since I saw one.
Look at the size of that. Now that is, I think that is the biggest organ I've seen in a while. That's bigger than my Uncle Peter's organ. His organ wasn't very big,
Right,
but he used to be able to get quite a good tune out of it. I'm not joking, by the way. We did have an Uncle Peter, and he did have an organ. And sometimes I would have private performances with.
If anyone doesn't realise that Mr. Duncan is being slightly rude.
I'm not. We actually did have an Uncle Peter who had.
I know, but you're.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
You
know what you're doing, Mr. Duncan.
You're being rude.
You know what you're doing.
You're being rude. You're rude. You're a rude man.
Yes.
I'm going to tell your mother when she comes how rude you are.
I pull out all the stops, says Vittoria, to remember as much as I can about what you teach us. Yes, that's good. 100 Dobbs says, what about this musical expression, run the show?
Yes. But I suppose if you run the show, it means that person who is in charge or the person who is arranging or organising everything. So you might say that one person is running the show. That means that person is maybe organising or controlling or managing what is happening in any situation.
Yes, we're not referring to an actual show,
no.
As in a musical or something. You could be running the show at work. The boss is away, I'm running the show this week, so you're organising all the other employees.
Yes. You might also say steering the ship.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Oh, if you have something, Mr. Steve, that has all the bells and whistles. Something that has all the bells and all the whistles. It means you have something that has everything with it that is available. All of the things that come with it or go with it are all there. So quite often when you buy something, maybe if you're buying a car.
You're buying a car and you tick all the options.
Yes.
I want the sunroof. I want the air conditioning. I want the sat-nav. The leather seats. Everything. So I bought that car with all the bells and whistles on it. So it had every available option.
So all the things that are available that you can have with it, you've actually included. So everything is there. You have all the bells and whistles. Everything is there. Again, referring to an orchestra. A person, this might refer to Mr. Steve or maybe your mum. A person who talks like a broken record. A record is something you play, a piece of vinyl, a disc that you put a small needle on and then it produces a sound. A person who talks like a broken record. And it is a person who keeps saying the same things.
But that's similar to the phrase we had earlier, isn't it? What was the phrase we had earlier which was similar to this?
That's it, to harp on.
To harp on about something. So yes, the record keeps saying the same thing because it's broken. Keeps saying the same thing. Yeah, so you just keep repeating it. So maybe a bit different if you're harping on about something. You might be talking about a particular subject a lot, but different aspects of it. Whereas if you're talking like a broken record, you're just repeating the same thing about a particular subject.
That's it.
You just repeat it.
You might keep talking about the weather, or you might say the same thing every day. You might look out the window and comment on the same thing every day, almost like when a record is broken.
Yes.
And the same part of the record keeps
you might say,
repeating.
You might, for example, at work, you might say, your boss might say, I might sound like a broken record, but if we're going to sell more products at this company, everyone's got to work harder. It's sometimes it is useful, if you want to repeat something that's important, and you might actually, offer up that explanation. I might sound like a broken record, but if we don't get this wedding booked now, we're going to lose the chance of when we want to have it. So that's how you might use that phrase.
Yes, to keep repeating or saying the same thing.
Here's another 100, Dob. The show must go on.
It must. I suppose this is
not really musical.
No, but I suppose you can have a musical show, but this is more about performance. But yes, the show must go on. Whatever happens, whatever difficulties come our way, we must still carry on.
Yes, because if you are actually in a show, if something goes wrong, you have to keep going because the audience is there and they've paid. But something might go wrong at work or at home, but you just keep going anyway because you have to do that. But Yes.
Here we go. Another one.
That's a very popular phrase to use, actually.
Something is music to your ears. Something pleasant, something pleasing, an enjoyable thing.
But we're not talking about music.
No, well, all of these are phrases.
Yes, I know. So I'm just making it clear.
That's it.
So music to your... We're not talking about music at all or tunes.
No.
It's a phrase connected to... It's a musical phrase.
It is what we call figurative. It is something that is expressing one thing by using something else. So something is music to your ears. Imagine music that is beautiful and soft going into your ear. Now imagine something that you hear or something that is pleasing. Maybe you have some good news. Maybe a person has given you some good news. Maybe something they are excited about. And then you are pleased because of the news. You might say, "Oh, thank you. That is music to my ears."
Yes, it's something very pleasant and enjoyable.
Or maybe something good that you've heard.
Yes. You might have, ordered something and it's been delayed. And then you phone up the company and say, when's my new car arriving? And they say, it's coming in 2 weeks' time on the 16th of February or something. And say, that's music to my ears. It's something, that is very pleasant.
Anything that sounds nice.
You can say that's music to my ears.
Good news. Positive news.
Something. You find out, your best friend's getting married. That's music to my ears because you're very pleased that your two friends are tying the knot.
Here's another one. This is something we often do. People often do this when they have a certain opinion, and maybe afterwards they change their opinion. They change their opinion to something else. To change one's tune. So when we think of a tune, we think of something that is done or performed in a certain way. But maybe if you change that tune, you make changes to it, or you alter that thing, then it is different. So that's the reason why we say to change one's tune. And that means to alter a person's opinion. Your opinion or your thoughts or feelings change. You change your tune. So maybe you hear a person, Steve, talking about maybe they don't like the thought of two men getting married, but then later they change their mind and they say, "No, I was wrong about that. It sounds like a good thing. Go on, go and do it. Get married." You
might be somebody.
So we can say that person has changed their tune.
Yes, and you can say to somebody, "You've changed your tune about something." So maybe, for example, you weren't somebody that was particularly into the royal family or monarchy. You didn't like the royal family. But then you watched all the celebrations of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, and then you started saying, wasn't that nice? I liked what the Queen said about that. And somebody might say, I didn't think you liked the royal family. You've changed your tune because some new information has come into your mind that has altered your opinion on something. Politicians often change their tune about something because or you might change your tune about somebody at work. It's somebody you might not like them at all. But then suddenly they do something, or you get into a conversation with them and you think, oh, they're all right. And then you suddenly start saying, oh, John, he's quite a nice chap, isn't he? So, well, you've changed your tune. I didn't think you liked him. Yeah. You've changed your opinion about something.
A person has changed their tune.
Have we got much longer to go, Mr. Duncan? My legs are aching.
I've been standing here for 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Well, yeah, but you're used to it. I'm not. I want a cup of tea, Mr. Duncan.
Mr. Steve wants to go. I have a feeling. And we do have a busy week, to be honest.
Yes, and I've got a lot to do to prepare for my mother coming.
That's it. I have to completely destroy my studio. I have to tear my studio to pieces.
So that we can fit a bed in.
So Mr. Steve's mother will be here. So if I'm here on Wednesday and you can hear some snoring, it's not me, it's Mr. Steve's mother. She's probably having a nap in the corner of the room. But I'm hoping also we will be here live when we reach 1 million subscribers. We are approaching that point, Mr. Steve.
Yes.
Are you excited?
Oh, yeah, mildly.
Mildly. It will never happen again. It's a bit like the Queen's Platinum Jubilee.
It might do. You might get to 1 million, then YouTube do some adjustment and take them off you. 100 off you, and then you'll go back up to 1 million again.
Yes.
Okay. They do that occasionally.
Please don't say that.
So you might get another.
That is one of my worst nightmares. But yes, it is a big thing. Seriously for a moment, it is a big moment because it's taken 15 and a half years to get to 1 million subscribers. So I have put a lot of time and effort into those million subscribers.
Yes, Christina uses the phrase changing your tune in a different way. You can say that you have not changed your tune on something.
Yes.
So it doesn't always refer to something when somebody changes their opinion. Maybe you've kept the same opinion, and for example, on the rail workers, for example, I could, I might say I don't agree with what they've been saying, and then somebody might say, well, you haven't changed your tune, have you? Or, to indicate that you have still got the same opinion about something, maybe over a long period of time, despite evidence to the contrary, you might not change your opinion about something. And someone will say sarcastically, well, you haven't changed your tune, have you? So you've got the same attitudes that you've had before years ago about something.
I'm trying not to sneeze.
Yes.
I have some sneezes building up in my nose.
Yes, Dorothy. Pleased, pleasant, and pleasing are pronounced differently.
Yes.
Mr. Steve's mother can make a lemon cake. How did you know about my mother's lemon cakes?
We have mentioned your mother's lemon drizzle.
Well, my mother has goes to the hairdressers every week, and she occasionally makes them a lemon drizzle cake, and she made them. They love it, and when she takes a free cake into them, she gets a free haircut.
Ah, that's good.
Yes. She just has to pay for something of it, but if she needs any hair cutting off, they do it for free because she brings them a lovely lemon drizzle cake.
So there's a good tip. If you want to get anything for free, always give someone a piece of cake, and then you will get 3 things. I will try that next week. Okay, Steve. Steve was complaining because he wants to go, so I think we will.
It's up to you, Mr. Duncan. You can stay on a bit longer if you want.
I can stay here forever. I can stay here. I might stay here for another 4 hours. I will stay here live until we reach 1 million subscribers.
Oh, good grief.
Is that good?
So I'll have to... how will you go to the toilet?
Well, I'll just stand here and just let it run down my legs.
Yes, Sylvia. Yes, we used to present the live show sitting down, and I'd like to go back to that, to be honest, because my legs ache a lot. I don't think it's very good for me, but yes, bye Maria. Thank you for attending.
We are going now.
Did you have many left of those phrases?
Just about 4 or 5 or 6 or maybe about 7 or 8.
Really?
Or maybe 10. There are quite a few. It's okay, don't worry. By the way, very quickly, the difference between these two instruments. This one, because we were talking about this the other day, weren't we?
Glockenspiel.
This is actually a glockenspiel. A glockenspiel.
With the metal.
And this one has the little metallic things that you hit. So there are little metal plates, and each one of them produces a different sound. And this particular thing is called a glockenspiel, not to be confused with a xylophone. So this is a xylophone, normally much larger, and the things that you strike are actually made of wood. So that is the slight difference between those two instruments.
Why have you... Well, it's interesting because I always think...
Well, I had other things I was going to do.
Oh, I see. Right, okay.
I've jumped ahead to this, you see. There is a piece missing from this.
I thought there might be.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
We could talk for another 20 minutes, you see, but you want to go, so that's it. It's over. It's finished.
Could you share the recipe? Well, Rosa, I will ask my mother for the recipe.
Yeah.
Because I've never baked this cake. My mother bakes it.
Maybe we can make one next week, live. Maybe we can go into the kitchen with Mr. Steve's mother and she can show us how to make a lemon drizzle cake.
I think it's a fairly basic recipe. It's just like a sponge.
Yes.
And then after it's cooked, you just pour on. You put some holes in the top, and
Yes.
then you pour on some a mixture of sugar and lemon juice.
Sounds nice. I'm hungry.
Right, Mr. Duncan, I'm going to put the kettle on.
Yes.
See you all. It won't be next week.
No, Mr. Steve will not be here. We might have Mr. Steve's mother standing right here next week. Or
And not the week after, because I've got rehearsals for 2 Sundays in a row.
okay.
So I shall, very sadly, only see you maybe in 3 weeks' time.
Okay.
But Mr. Duncan, of course, will be here, maybe with my mother. So stay tuned just in case he managed to persuade. I was going to say something rude then. Right, see you all soon. Bye-bye.
Mr. Steve is so funny. This is the reason why everyone likes Mr. Steve being here, you see, because he's so funny. See you in July.
Bye.
And yes, there it was, the fiddle playing there. Right. Then. That's it. It's time to say goodbye. It's time to go. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. We had a lot of things today. I will be honest with you. Quite a lot of stuff to do today. I hope you've enjoyed this live stream and I hope everything has gone very well. Even though I was late, I've noticed, even though I was late today, despite the fact that I was late, we've still done it longer than we needed. About 1 hour and 10 minutes, or 2 hours. 2 hours and 10 minutes I've been with you. See you on Wednesday. I will be with you on Wednesday, by the way. Wednesday I am back. I don't know how or what I will be doing at the moment because things are changing here whilst Mr. Steve's mum comes to stay. But I will be with you, and hopefully also I will be with you for the historic moment when I reach 1 million subscribers. Who will be my 1 millionth subscriber? Find out, hopefully, before Wednesday. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of English saying thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. I hope it's been interesting. I will leave you with some lovely sights and some lovely musical sounds as well. And I will see you, if not before, I will see you on Wednesday, 2 p.m. UK time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the rest of all of this. And of course, until the next time we meet here, you know what's coming next. Take care of yourself and don't forget, smile. be happy. Don't forget, there is no law against it. Ta-ta for now.